Hmm? Okay. Okay. I will, rather than calling the Metropolitan Parks District meeting to order, I would like to announce that the meeting has been postponed until next week, beginning at 6 p.m. on next Monday. So thank you very much.
And that closes that statement. And now, we officially will call to order the City of Shelton Commission study session. First item on our business is we want to welcome the Chamber to come and give us a third quarter report, and that's Ms. Heidi McCutcheon.
Thank you. I believe that you all have this in your binder.
Yep.
And then Corey, do you guys need a copy or you already have it? So I brought some extra copies if anybody's interested. I want to pass those around. So as you can tell, I've revamped our tourism report a little bit. I figured after 10 years it was probably time to do so. So just kind of wanted to walk through some other tourism aspects that we haven't been reported on. Our Facebook page right now has over 1,700 likes and is a way that we share community news, things that are happening, events and festivals, etc. So during third quarter, we attracted 43,275 unique users and a weekly average of 2,700 unique people as well. Our most popular post during this time was the announcements and photos of our Business Community Expo, which you know that we moved downtown this year in concert with the Road Diet. One post that didn't go out during third quarter, but that shared third quarter activities that was the most popular post of the year so far was our announcement of Shelton Cinema's free movie Mondays for all the kids. And that had nearly 50,000 likes and was shared well over 100 times. So we were excited to help with that. As you look at the post reach right there under that photo, obviously Shelton is the most common Facebook user that we interact with. But Olympia comes in at just shy of 6,500. So these are people that have either commented, liked, or shared our Facebook posts. So in order, Shelton, Olympia, Union, Belfair, Seattle, Hoodsport, Lacey, and Tumwater was just after that as well. So it's nice to know that the things that we're sharing on Facebook, it doesn't just have a local reach, but also is reaching some people in border or outerlying areas as well. Our website and calendar is holding about steady for where we have been. Our online event calendar continues to be the most popular page outside of our main landing page, and then the events and festival page is shortly after that. For our visitor counts, I went ahead and included the Hoodsport Visitor Center as well, just so that you can kind of gauge where a lot of our visitors are going. So while we saw a short decline in the caboose, the chamber visits continue to increase, and our Hoodsport visitors were up 8.61%. So to date, at the end of third quarter, we saw just over 18,000 people come into our visitor centers that we were able to count, have sign our visitor log, etc. So this has been a banner year for Mason County at large. And of course, our passes and maps have increased substantially as well, just because of that volume. The passes and maps have increased by about 200 over the year or so. We do have we have more than 20 volunteers that help out at all of those visitor centers. Jane is our most common. She comes in every Tuesday to the chamber office and helps us with some of the reporting and such. And then we have the majority of people out at the Hoodsport Visitor Survey as well. Having the caboose open during regular working hours has helped with access to it. Before, As we've discussed, just due to staffing issues, it was closed more often than it was open. So with that video surveillance system that alerts us in the chamber office that somebody's in there seems to be like a good thing and well received by the community as well as visitors. Moving on to the Bite magazine, which we don't receive any LTAC funding for, but we send out mail directly to about 18,000 residences and businesses in Mason County. So that goes to every address in Shelton, Union, and Hoodsport. And then there's an additional 2,000 copies that are distributed at our businesses, neighboring visitor centers, and to individuals upon request as well. And there's just a little photo of our events and festivals page. While the majority of the magazine is limited to chamber members only for the events and festivals, we like to have everybody in there, just because people are always calling and asking, what is there to do? And we have so many great things happening in our community. And that is actually, we're wrapping that up today, so our next edition will come out just before the first Friday events in December. Finally, my staff and I have all participated in different tourism networking events, specifically the Olympic Peninsula Tourism Summit, which was held in October. Some of our favorite breakouts were based upon farm to fork and restaurants that are working with local agricultural businesses to bring it fresh from their farms into their restaurants. We also had some good interaction with Valerie of REI. She's an REI employee who works with backpackers, et cetera, that tell them about the different opportunities in Western Washington. So we have a familiarization tour that we're scheduling with her. So she's going to come out and check out Mason County, and hopefully she'll spread the word to other hikers and visitors in the area. And then we also had, I met Rob Taylor, who's a blogger that has a incredibly good reach, that he's going to come out and check things out as well. So we're excited to see what that does for Mason County. In addition to the Tourism Summit, I also participated in monthly phone calls for the Olympic Culinary Loop Board, which has basically all 4 counties on the peninsula places to eat and drink. So it's been a pretty full 3 months, but things are looking good for Mason County.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Well, I attended one of the things on what's happening. I attended the very first time a community concert because I won a ticket for 2, and I went to see the Tenors. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that community concert brings in quality entertainment. And it costs just a pittance to join.
Right.
You get lots of concerts through the year. So
Typically
anyway.
there's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Actually, my mom had season tickets when I was young, and that was
like-
always really exciting for me in middle school and high school to have something to get dressed up for and to go see. I mean, they are world-class acts that they bring
You
in.
can buy a season ticket for $55 and
Right.
you get to see all 4 of them. That's like, what,
Pretty good.
$12 a concert?
Right.
Really?
Anyway,
Yeah.
thumbs up on that.
Yeah.
Great report. I think I probably need to visit your website more because I find myself walking about 2 or 3 times a week over and talking to the ladies at the counter to say, well, what's going on this week? Do I have any ribbon cuttings or, and so I probably could walk, just to let my fingers do the walking and visit your website probably more. But it's a great report. Looks like things are going great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next, our agenda is we have a general public, we have weekly commission reports. Commissioner Moore?
Okay. This week I will be meeting with consultants regarding the railroad. I have a Mason Transit Authority meeting tomorrow, as well as there is a Senior Services for South Sound event at the Colonial House tomorrow evening. I'm not sure I will make it to that, but I may. And then the 16th, there is an EDC luncheon. On Friday, I have a Peninsula Regional Transportation Planning Organization meeting, and that's my week.
All right, thank you.
Well, I started out my week by going to a luncheon and got to listen to Brad Owen today. He's retiring, and he shared many of his 42 years in government. His first stint was Commissioner of Finance for the city of Shelton, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, that was very interesting. I think the ribbon cutting for the credit union, is that tomorrow or when's tomorrow? Okay. Tomorrow, 11:30, ribbon cutting for the beautiful new credit union that's all new windows and new siding. I also have my CareNet Pregnancy Board meeting at 4 on Tuesday. Reception for senior services at the Colonial House on Tuesday. And Wednesday, I have my EDC monthly luncheon out at Kapowsin Sky, 11 a.m. That's my week.
All right, and mine is kind of similar to those. Wednesday is a big day because I start the morning off with the Criminal Justice Board meeting. And then at lunchtime on Wednesday, I will be going to the airport for lunch, for the EDC lunch. And then on Wednesday afternoon, I will be doing a ribbon cutting for the High on the Hog food truck.
Yes.
Out at kind of by the Deer Creek area out there. And then back to Tuesday, this is something brand new to me. There looks like another ribbon cutting for the credit union. So I should go on the website more often, and then I could find out those things. So that concludes our commission reports.
I will be also at High on the Hog ribbon cutting.
You'll be there also?
Yes, I will be there
Okay.
also.
Not just for the food, I hope.
No,
No, okay.
no.
I go a lot for those foods. I
Yeah.
like the food. But anyway, next is general public comment period.
And we do have Forrest and Bill who signed up together, I think.
Thank you
Okay.
very much,
Okay.
Commission. I'm Forrest Cooper. I'm joined today by Bill Busacco. We're representing the Shelton Historic Preservation Board, we are both members of. Bill is actually our chairperson of the board. And there's been some recent, I shouldn't say recent, there's been a discussion over the last several years about the future of Tolly. And the Shelton Historic Preservation Board felt that it was time to make a statement in regards to Tolly. So we've prepared a letter that the board's approved, and they wanted me to read to you today. I'll then provide you with a copy of it after we're done. Dear Shelton Mayor and City Commissioners, the Simpson Logging Company Locomotive Number 7, named Tolly, and the Peninsular Railroad Caboose Number 700 are listed on the National, State, and Shelton Historic Registers. The Tolly is also located in Shelton's Simpson Reed Local Historic District. With this provenance, and to protect the historic quality of the train and its placed location, all modifications, additions, or relocations are subject to review by the Shelton Historic Preservation Board, Washington State Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation, and the U.S. Department of Interior. Over the last few years, discussions to relocate Tolly have arisen within the community, and after numerous in-depth meetings on the topic, the board has voted to make the following statement. The Tolly symbolizes a very important part of Shelton's historical past, and not only represents a unique and well-preserved Shay locomotive with attached rail car and caboose, the Tolly also depicts a community built by hardworking residents of the city and county, and thereby must remain in the heart of the city. The Shay locomotive was instrumental in the harvesting of large timber in the Pacific Northwest by the Simpson Logging Company. Simpson utilized this specific type of locomotive for Mason County logging because of its unique ability to haul heavy loads over uneven terrain and track. Without the development of the Shay locomotive, Shelton might not have grown as prosperous throughout the 20th century. The current location was chosen to represent the last of the operational locomotives once driven down West Railroad Avenue. The Tolly sits frozen in time, where the rumble of the engine and the sound of the whistle can be imagined by local residents and visitors to this city landmark. We understand the need to preserve the Tolly and would like to suggest a future ongoing painting and maintenance schedule be considered to protect it from the elements. As to the idea of a roof over Tolly, we feel such a structure would detract from the train itself and could potentially cause more harm than good. Locomotives spend their entire lives outside, and with proper maintenance, they can last for generations. In summary, the Shelton Historic Preservation Board strongly requests Tolly remain at its current location within the Simpson-Reed Historic District on West Railroad Avenue, where it can continue to serve as a historic attraction to Shelton's Main Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bill Busaka, who is the chair of the Shelton Historic Preservation, for some comments, and if you have any questions.
Just going to make general statements about what he said in the letter, and that is, in spite of Forterra or PKG or whatever other kind of future visioning committees we have, that the locomotive just can't be picked up and moved just because somebody feels like picking it up and moving it. It's going to have to be approved at the federal and state and city level in order to be moved. And it's really our centerpiece. It's the centerpiece of this town. It's the centerpiece of our history. And the thing is that the whole idea behind the roof and all that, and of course the big thing with the roof was, well, that'll cover up the post office. Well, it got a really terrible paint job. And it's just absolutely ridiculous that, of course, it's looking deteriorated on the boiler and all that kind of, the side now. But if it had a decent paint job to begin with, it'd last a lot longer. Plus, the reality is it's going to have some ongoing maintenance. The good news is, since it's not a functioning locomotive, the maintenance is substantially less than it would be if it were a functioning locomotive. So it'd be better to keep it there. I can't imagine that building a roof over it would be cheaper than painting it. It's just unbelievable. And then if you look at McClary, where they've taken their steam engine and put it under a roof, surrounded it with a chain link fence, I think it gets more damage from the birds that poop all over the train than it does from the rain that falls on it, or would fall on Tolly. And so, for all those reasons, I think it ought to be, to stay there. And the last thought is this: at a time when roads, sewer, water, and all these other infrastructure issues are having to be dealt with in one way or another, the last thing we need to do is spend a whole lot of money moving a locomotive that looks great right where it is. So why spend that kind of money? One other subject that I would like to comment on my own, and that is, I read in the paper, and I may be wrong if the paper was wrong, that there was a suggested budget of $28 million to save the roundhouse and do all that. That number seems unbelievably hallucinogenic to me, and in this sense. Being a railroad buff myself, one of my favorite locomotives from Colorado has been shipped back to Strasburg, Pennsylvania, completely restored, cabs, boilers, the whole 9 yards for a couple $1 million. For $28 million, they could build a junior kingdom over the roundhouse, and they could ship Tolly back to Strasburg, Pennsylvania, and fully rehabilitate it, and have money left over for $28 million. So I don't know where the $28 million comes. If I am wrong in that number, forgive me, but I think that number seems quite unrealistic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for general public comment?
Marilyn Vogler.
Good afternoon. Marilyn Vogler, 420 East Poplar. I would like to talk about the roundhouse as well. I know that Tracy, Commissioner Moore, knows a lot about it because she has spent lots of hours talking with people. I have spent many fewer hours looking into it, but I'm concerned really at the lack of solid information. We've had a lot of figures thrown around about costs. We've heard about access issues. And my impression is that it's not finances or who would manage it after it became a tourist attraction that are really the big issues. The big issue is access. It will never be a viable tourist attraction if people can't get to it. One of the things that I've heard cited is the Navy and the railroad tracks. I was talking to a person I consider a very reliable resource over the weekend, and was told that the Navy does not own that section of the railroad. That the Navy owns the railroad or controls it beginning at the main gate and going north But south of the main gate, the railroad belongs to Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad. And so to be discussing this with the Navy seems odd to me, but again, maybe this is lacking information. The other problem I've heard talked about is access from SPI. I would like to request that before a decision is made, SPI present to the Commission and to the public the options they are willing to consider for access. I don't know whether this has been done. I don't recall hearing anything from SPI about how they intend people to access this site, and I think that's a critical part of the information we need. Without access, this isn't a gift. It's an albatross. I'd also like to suggest that until there is a viable presentation showing that access is possible in a way that would support a tourist activity, the Commission not make any decision about accepting or rejecting the gift. If you decide, no, we're not going to accept it, if you decide, yes, that we can't afford it, that decision will almost surely result in the roundhouse being torn down. And if the Commission has made that decision, as far as the public is concerned, losing the roundhouse will fall on the Commission's shoulders. I suggest you not make a decision at all until there is a viable plan for access. And I've printed off copies of this very small map from Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad. You can tell that it stops right in the middle of Shelton, but you can't exactly tell where. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. All right, are we ready for reading the consent agenda?
We are.
Yes.
Yes, could we please have that?
Consent agenda, handwritten warrant number 13024 to KeyBank in the amount of $7,470.63. Ordinance number 1888-1116, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington, increasing ad valorem taxes in the City of Shelton for calendar year 2017. Ordinance number 1889-1116, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington, declaring substantial need for increasing ad valorem taxes in the City of Shelton for the calendar year 2017. And 2017 levy certificate.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will move to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The agenda passes. Well, we don't have any action item agendas today, no old business, but we do have several items under new business. And so what I'd like to do is turn this meeting over to our acting Public Works Director, Craig Gregory, at this time to talk about this old business.
New business.
Oh, well, there you go. Sorry, it's new old business.
There you go.
There you go. It's a little bit of both.
Commissioners, Mayor, Public Works is bringing forward quite a few briefings today, the first of which is an interlocal agreement between the City of Shelton and Mason County to provide further treatment of digested sludge. We would take that in down at the main treatment plant and run it through our biosolids dryer that was sized to take in outside digested sludge and provide further treatment on it at the time when we built that. And pricing was done by Public Works staff, reviewed by the finance staff, and that is what we were bringing forward to you today. Do you have any questions for me on the ILA? ILA was drafted by Kathleen Haggard, our city attorney, and reviewed by staff.
So exactly the steps after you receive the sludge from wherever, then what do you do with it?
No matter who would bring it to us, it would go through a meter directly inside the treatment plant main gate. It would go into our digester and be mixed with the digested sludge that we are producing at the facility, and then pumped up to the biosolids dryer to be run through the dryer and bagged for distribution.
Okay.
Okay, so this is sludge that's going to be dehydrated and made into kind of like fertilizer, is that correct?
It is. That's the
It-
process
right,
that we do
and it's-
now.
Yeah, and that would be helpful in paying for that equipment that we bought.
That is correct.
At
It is
this
a
time-
price sharing mechanism for us, and we have priced out all the way through depreciation of the dryer down to testing, manpower, warehouse space for the building, and everything has been figured into that.
Do you know off the top of your head what the revenue on that is? What the
It
city-
will depend on how much product is brought in.
Okay.
Craig, I know that early on when we were discussing this, there was some concern raised by members of the public about metals in the sludge that we would be receiving. I'm assuming that has all been tested and is within the limits that we can accept.
Within the ILA, Mason County or whoever will bring us their sludge will be required to provide test results 2 days before delivery of the digested sludge. So we'll know if there's a problem before we receive it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So on this item, it looks like we need to have a motion. Okay? So I guess I would entertain a motion to accept this agreement.
I move that the commission place the ILA with Mason County on the consent agenda for November 21st, 2016, and authorize the commission to sign the ILA when returned by the county.
I will second that.
So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. The next briefing is directly related to the first one, and it is a fee schedule, a change to the fee schedule to provide pricing for the intake of the digested sludge, and that is on page 12.
Could I interject for just
Yes.
a second? Well, I talked to our city manager about the fact that usually when we have these, we have it dictates where there's a change up or down, and he had talked about a color, but that the color ran off and it wasn't on our paper. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to bring this back under old business
Okay.
and see the color. I need the color difference because so that seemed to be, and that would give us an idea more what we're doing. So it wasn't your fault, it's the copier's fault.
And we will in the future.
Who pushed the button? Did you push the button on that?
I did not push the
Oh,
button.
okay.
My copy has it highlighted in red. So,
Right.
Oh.
So,
but we will certainly in the future, in case we don't get that in color, we will highlight it, underline it, so that it will stand out
right,
for
so
you.
I would like that probably before I can make a decision.
Okay.
Okay?
We
So
can certainly do that.
What we'd like to do is bring this back under old business, okay?
Certainly.
Okay?
The last one is our snow and ice removal process. I'm not aware of any formal process that we have ever brought forward to you. We haven't had snow in quite some time, which makes me think maybe we're due for it. And we have had some issues in the past of communicating to the public of how we remove snow and ice. So we have formulated a process with maps that are attached that have been reviewed by police and fire to provide plowing during the event and cleanup after the event has happened.
Good deal. We haven't had this quite before in the past, and so when I saw it, I thought it was kind of neat that you were bringing forward a plan before it happens, and that it's something that gives the public a little opportunity to see what the priorities are in that. So I thought it was really good. I liked it. So
Thank you.
any comments on that?
Do you have any questions on it?
No? Looks good to me. So we don't need any motion. You're just bringing this forward for our information. We want to place, we don't have to place anything on anything. No, we do.
That one forward to next week.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll go on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Under our new process, we're putting some of these things under the action agenda so that if there is public comment.
Okay.
Thank you
All right. Thank you
for
very
the
much.
maps and
In
here.
color.
Will be,
Yeah.
Helpful when people ask
I
us
did recognize we hadn't done
questions.
that before, so good job.
And we will hopefully get that posted as soon as it is okayed by the commission. We will get that posted for the public to view.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is our administration reports from some department heads here, and we're going to move the scheduling around a little bit because some people have to go to other places. So first is the fire department there, and Tim McKern.
Good
So,
afternoon. Let me
Chief?
digress a little bit from what you're doing with the snow removal. There's another piece to that Craig didn't tell you about is the EOC is open and functional. So during a snow event, we would open the EOC up over at the fire station, and it's set up, ready to go. All the computers, the phones, and everything are ready to go on there, plus the generator. So we're looking forward to that as well. In your package, you'll see that we're about 4,452 calls total for our district. That runs about 14.22 calls a day. We are stemming right along. It hasn't altered off that for much. City's about 2134. The shining stars, if you will, or the high notes are the 76.50 on EMS for the district and 82% in the city. Nothing's changed. That's pretty much been pretty consistent when the calls respond to that. Fire of nature, I wanted to share with you. We haven't even got the press release out yet. On Friday evening, somewhere around 1 o'clock in the morning, we had a fire at Evergreen Hiawatha. This is not the time to have a fire at Evergreen Hiawatha, obviously. Thank goodness for staff that were on this, staff from Evergreen that actually decided to go back and check the alarm center. Glad they did. They had smoke in a bathroom area. Turned out it was a unit that was above one of the bathrooms, a fan that had been left on, caused a fire above. They have a mezzanine up there, and it just so happens their storage area that they had above the mezzanine is where they store all their wicker baskets. Wicker basket fire, you can imagine what we ended up with when we, luckily enough, we had a couple units, we were Johnny on spot in there within 3 minutes, had a great knockdown, kept it contained, and I'm happy to report that by Saturday afternoon, they were open back up. We were there again today, and they are ready to rock and roll, and so I was impressed. Crews did an amazing job, so we're thankful for that as well. And the last part in there is about our turkey fryers. That's on the city's web. It's on our web. We'll get that promotion out there to talk about the turkey fryers. It's that time of year. Really the big issue is to remember that people are putting wet turkeys inside, and really turkey fryers have taken a step back. Part of the problem was the oils went up. The oil is very expensive to buy, and so people are just thinking it's just as quick as easy to take a turkey and put it in the oven and work it that way. So that's all we have for.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yes, ma'am.
How does it fry if it doesn't use oil?
Pardon me?
They said, consider purchasing an outdoor turkey cooking appliance that does not use oil.
You can use basically you can use like a roaster and just set the roaster outside and plug them in. There's electric roasters that you can do that. That's what we've done as a family. We put a roaster out there. Same kind of cooking time. It cuts the cooking time down to a couple hours, but it'll do the same effect without going through the oil.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for moving around. Appreciate
Oh,
that.
no problem. Next, we're going to have an update from our police department, and Mike Fiola is going to take the place of Darren Moody on this.
Commissioners, Mayor, thank you for having me. The chief is in a very warm place. The real chief in the family got the vacation, so he's gone for the week. Current information, last week we had a life-saving incident. Obviously, it's nationally known that we have a heroin epidemic, and Shelton is not immune to that. So we had a gentleman, for lack of better words, pass away up near the Denny's over a heroin overdose. As you guys are aware, officers are now carrying Narcan. Before, we would have to wait for the medics to get there to apply that. One of our officers just happened to be in the area, administered 2 doses of Narcan, and brought him back to life. So he went to Mason General and woke up. It's kind of weird when that things happen, but so it's working. We're really happy to report that. Other incidents we've noticed is an increase in our fraud cases. It's that time of year again where people are getting the phone calls, people are getting contacted through social media about things that are usually just too good to be true. And what I mean by that is a relationship is brokered over the phone or through social media where the person says, hey, if I give you a check, will you cash it? They go to the bank, they cash it, then wire the money to wherever it's at, usually a different state or a different country. Again, Shelton's not immune to that. We've noticed a significant increase in calls where citizens have been victimized by this. It not only costs money to our banks, but also to the citizens as well. So we've put out press releases stating as much. Be very cautious. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Proud to report that our burglaries year to date are down from 2015. We've investigated 54 burglaries in 2016. This is 24 down from where we were at 2015, so that's really good. Our larceny and thefts, which used to be plagued our city, they're down. We've handled 360 complaints for thefts, and that's 102 down from 2015. This can be contributed to good police work and good, strong community bonds that we've built over the past couple of years. Another thing, it's starting to get darker much earlier, so we want to tell the public, hey, make sure we're being cautious when we're driving the pedestrians on Olympic Highway North. Usually this time of year we have 2 or 3 people get hit in the crosswalk, so put the phone down, people. Please concentrate on your driving. Turn the lights on early, things of that nature. Upcoming with the Shelton Police Department, we're proud to announce that we're finally going to be giving our city employees active shooter training. We've done this for banks, other community businesses, so we're going to do it for our employees now. So I'm looking forward to that. We have a recruit up at the Seattle Academy graduating this month. His name is Hector Diaz. He was born in Mexico, migrated to the United States, is fluent, obviously, in Spanish and English, served in the United States Marine Corps, and got out as a staff sergeant. And we were really lucky to pick him up. So he'll be hitting the streets later this month. We're really excited. We have another new officer, Charles Taylor. He'll be heading to the academy right after he gets back. We do have a couple retirements in anticipation. 2 officers probably in the next 6 months will probably be looking to retire, and we're also going to have a front-end / evidence technician retiring as well. So there's going to be new faces, new blood in the department, which is always, not a bad thing. Another neat thing is talk about community partnerships. Our officers will be participating next week in a cigarette butt cleanup project. If you walk around the city, you'll notice that there are a lot of cigarette butts. We're teaming up with the Shelton School District, and our officers are going to be going out and picking up cigarette butts in various locations throughout the city, in addition to other various garbage. That's all I have for right now.
Where is the recruitment, or where is the graduation at? High school?
It's going to be up at Blia, which is in Burien, Washington.
Oh, it's not going to be local.
No. The Reserve Academy we did is local, so we did it here, but this is up in Seattle, so this is the State Academy.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your
Thank you very
report.
much.
Appreciate it. Next is administration update presented by the Assistant City Manager, Vicki Look.
Well, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We've been pretty busy with recruitment, just like Mike mentioned. We have a position open that just closed the other day, and we received several applications for that we're currently reviewing. It is a civil service process, so it'll take a little bit longer for us to get that going and the review process started. We also have an engineer position that we are recruiting for, and along with the accounting supervisor position. Those are actively open, and we're seeking applications for those 2 positions. Having said that, we did just appoint Mark Ziegler as the community director that covers Parks and Recreation, which he did before, and now he's going to be overseeing community development. So we're really happy with that, and congratulate Mark on that appointment. We're also going to be researching action minutes. I think it builds efficiencies in our department, and so we're going to research that. We'll bring that back to you in December so that you can consider maybe going in that direction with those minutes. So that's all I have.
All right, any questions for Vicki? No, thank you very much. And number 4 is, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our city manager, Ryan Wheaton.
Just a quick update with finance. As Vicki mentioned, we are looking at, we're still recruiting for an accounting manager. And then the other thing is that we're on track to bring forward the final budget for your vote in the early part of next month.
All right. And any administration final touches?
I would like to say something.
Sure.
Okay, this is kind of off, not what we normally do, but I would like to respond to a couple of questions that Marilyn brought up. I think they're very timely, given that we will be discussing the Roundhouse and the rail next week. And I just, there are a number of issues and negotiations that are ongoing with the rail, with access, with the Roundhouse, things that we don't have all the details to right now, but there are efforts going on right now to answer some of those questions. So hopefully next week we will have more information to bring forward. The access is an issue, definitely. The different railroads coming together, as well as concerns that Sierra Pacific has. So we're working on those now because, as you said, we do not want to be straddled with an albatross, but it also, we don't want to let an amazing opportunity disappear. So that's it.
All right, thank you very much. All right, our meeting next week will be on November 21st at 6 p.m. in the evening. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.